Good evening, and welcome back for another A Part of performance. I'm Vlad Solokin, Chair of the Board of High Notes Avante. Our registered charity's mission is to give hope and connect those touched by mental illness through artistic expression. Tonight's performers have all participated in our live events before and were scheduled to be a live part of our High Notes Gala when COVID 19 happened. So tonight, we'll start with one of the three short ballets with dancers from Ballet Jorgen. As performances came to a halt, they came up with new, innovative ways to make ballet accessible from coast to coast. Next, we have pianist Seroun Kradjian performing a unique version of the famous La Campanella. He says, I'm quoting now, during the COVID 19 pandemic, those people who had their professional lives put on hold did their best to keep occupied with what they did best. Liszt Paganini's La Campanella has always been one of my favorite pieces to play, and to combine my performance with surrealistic video, which combines the past with the future, made the project even more appealing. At this difficult period for the whole world, it is certainly not easy to keep focused on what you are passionate about. But for me personally, lockdown has opened up new avenues for creativity, new ideas, which comfort my mind and give me renewed confidence in a better future. After La Campanella, we'll view another Ballet Jorgen performance before listening to David Hetherington play his cello. He'll introduce the piece himself. High Notes Avante segment will end with yet another Ballet Jorgen video before handing over the mic to Lalita Tennis. We're not alone, although we have to stay apart for a while. We're all in this together. We all have a story. Together, we'll be a part of something that will bring us closer when it's over. Please sit back and enjoy the show.
When your baby leaves you all alone and nobody calls you on the phone, don't you feel like a crying? Don't you feel like crying? Well, here I am, honey. Come on, come to me. When you're all alone, but the smell of perfume, don't you feel like a crying? Don't you feel like crying? Don't you feel like a crying? Come on, cry to me. Come on, take my hand, baby, won't you walk with me? Oh yeah, waiting for thoughts to come in the night, but there's no one. Don't you feel like I'm crying? Don't you feel like crying? Walk with me. Oh yeah.
Just because someone broke your heart, it does not mean that it will remain broken forever. It is better to love with a whole heart than to never experience the beauty of love. Also choose to get back up, love again, give again, trust again. It is the experience that grows you, not the fear of it.
Hello, I'm David Hetherington. When the Amici Chamber Ensemble was approached by High Notes Avante Productions to take part in this program, I immediately thought of a piece for solo cello by Australian composer Sarah Hopkins. Recently, in addition to the pandemic, attention has been focused on the issue of systemic racism. It is clear that the whole world is affected by this insidious practice, and that it is largely responsible for damage to the mental health of many people because of the constant threat to their human rights and to their heritage. In 1993, Australia decided to rename Ayers Rock, an iconic landmark in the Northern Territory, which is of extremely important spiritual and cultural significance to the local Aboriginal people, the Anangu. It is now known as Uluru, which was the original indigenous name. The change was put in place to show respect for the Anangu people and specifically to acknowledge their ownership of the land. Since the beginning, they have cultivated this land and built their societies there. I think we can all agree that this action would be an important way not only to show respect for the Anangu people, but to give them the confidence, which would be a definite boost for their mental health. The piece itself begins with bird calls, which lead to a drone on the note G, which is like the earth note, grounded, rich, full, life-giving. The melody lines grow out of the earth note and fold back into it. As the piece evolves, the earth note gradually transforms into the sound of the didgeridoo, Australia's most important indigenous musical instrument, which is akin to the sound of the earth. The name of the piece, Reclaiming the Spirit.
Hello, my name is Lolita Tanis, and I'm the artistic director and founder of Art in Migration, which is a teeny tiny organization made teenier and tinier during COVID that brings artists and audiences into nature to experience live art in secluded, beautiful spaces in York Region. And today I wanted to present myself as a poet. I have been writing for over 20 years, and I wanted to share some work with you. So for the first three poems that I'll be reading are from the COVID time, from now. I will start with the first poem that is actually kind of happens in between the other two during the rains. In my yard, the rain is in procession, churning like small river rapids. From an eaves trough, weighted drops ping on a barbecue. In slow steel pan sounds, a drumbeat stirring. On the road, the construction guys are drilling in the downpour. One of them sings out, "It's just a spring clean for the May Queen." A small plane crosses pale clouds, its motor like a riverboat. My grass is greener. Drenched white tulips are straight-backed, as if holding for a king. Birds float through heavy boughs. My husband is in hospital. A pandemic silence sprouts yellow like dandelions on every lawn, returning. Are the results in? I calculate his distance from me now. Is he down the road like the soaked construction god? As unreachable as the small plane with its pale sound? Or as close as the grass that is greener? So the second poem begins at actually the very beginning of COVID. At the time when the world was in an awful lot of fear and gloom and worry. None of us knew what was happening in the world. And if you recall, it was very, very early spring, sort of the transition time. And I live near a lake in Richmond Hill, and so my perspective comes from there. Ice free, the sunless lake stirs under a clouded world. A wind has caused a shiver. The treetops undo prayers. Finches are mustard petals. The blackbirds with ruby wings cannot dispel the ache of spring. The brutal thaw. Their trills and calls and whistles quiver inside the cold front. So the last of the three COVID poems was written in the middle of May. And so some time had passed and new things were happening. The lilac, the sun, and the city morgue bursting on the same Monday bring my provisions. An amulet, soap, the apple blossoms, a wine bottle, My will undressed in the kinky afternoon. Bring me clean surfaces, a butter tart, bone soup. Black men, white women, indigenous and brown, pronounced dead in the same newspaper. Bring me mildewed books and live recorded poets. A quiet flamenco with arms and hands. A stepping stone. The COVID times, on a much lighter note, it gave us time for all kinds of things that we haven't had time for. And so I read and read and read. And one of the books I was reading discussed tanka poems. Tanka poems come from the Japanese tradition in the 13th century. They are 31 syllables each, and tanka translates to the meaning song. So they are like small songs. And I've written 3 of those, each one entirely different from the other, first of all, and each one entirely different from the first 3 poems that I have read to you. So in the first tanka poem, I just wanted to let you know that the word Dievs means God in Latvian, and I am Latvian Canadian, and so that's where that comes from. So here goes the first one. Google Translate me. Am I Lilita or Jane? Have I Dievs or breath? Am I 2 sons and brothers? A stone in the Kiel River. That's the first one. Again, entirely different poem. A tanka poem, a song of 31 syllables. Here's the next one. Silence is fluent. Hushed languages or signals. Post-coup of dove. Thought. The awe in our hearts. The mute spark before the blaze. And finally, the last one, entirely different from the others. I have met strangers online and in train stations. Chugga chugga ding. What is your language color? Why is the window seat free? So I'd like to take you back to an entirely different time in our lives, and certainly in my life 1 year ago, when I ventured out to the subarctic in the Northwest Territories and to experience something that I have dreamt of since I was 14 years old. I've always wanted and wished to go to the north, and I finally was able to do so. And I remember looking out of a plane and just being so overwhelmed with amazingness at seeing the tundra for the first time. Anyway, I was on an adventure. I'm a chicken who nonetheless takes adventures. And I was with a group canoeing down the Keel River. And this is a poem that follows the river for more or less 300 kilometers and tries to remember what it was. In this river belly of northern giants, rock shoulders heave into the skies, brace single spires, entire cathedrals. The giants bare their crags and wounds, roar as they fall apart, stumble down hard upon themselves. Their crush followed by the steady murmur of the river current running clear. The smooth, curved ones, round in sudden copper light, camouflaged are dark, fleecy shadows. The mighty and unshackled, the elegant, marred by a line of thin spruce. In this river belly of northern giants, the slender footsteps of shoals, glints of gold and copper and iron ore, claws of the grizzly in clay, the nectars of tiny flowers quivering. Sunlight and mist and thunder cracks over a flowing turquoise in pale lichen and bush. A broad flap of wind binds the stretch of stones and rocks, a shoreline, a handful of people, starless, small, crossing through formation and deliverance in toques. So the second poem that comes from last year works with haiku. Haiku poems are 3 lines, and in this particular work I played with the form a little bit and created a series of haiku poems based on a theme. And I just wanted to say that one of the things that the poem is called Ode to Bush Pilots. And when you enter the Northwest Territories or the subarctic, you need to do so through usually at least one, if not more, very small planes. And so this poem comes from that, and also remembering my father, who died 3 years ago, who was a commercial pilot and started out as a bush pilot in Canada. Ode to Bush Pilots. Between mountain peaks, small plains bounced into meadows. Death is half of it. Swarthy blue outfits, zippers against breast and thigh, bare forearms, release muzzle. Ex-cod fishermen hoist le canoe du pontoon, a labrador grin. She's no rogue pilot, doesn't roll her own cigarettes. She's true north, skylit, action star novice, shy charisma, sitting wide, big city watch, ticking. Dad's bush plane archive marks 600 flying hours south of the tundra. He died, half-hearted, a huge life, an old wildfire, longing for more air.
I'm Eleanor Silverberg, a social worker in private practice. I help people cope through situations of adversity and loss, applying my 3A coping framework: acknowledge, assess, assist. An assisting method that I endorse professionally and that I practice personally is mindfulness, for the benefit of tension relief and increased concentration and better focus. I'm here to talk to you about mindfulness and to provide a demonstration of my Mindfulness for Everyone workshop. Mindfulness is paying attention in the present moment. That sounds simple, but it's anything but simple. The breath is commonly used to anchor people into paying attention in the present moment. They're usually used through breathing meditations. In my workshop, Mindfulness Exercises for Everyone, I usually start with a short breathing meditation. So let's start now as I guide you through a focus of 4 breaths. Okay, so let's start sitting comfortably, breathing in, breathing out. 1, breathing in, breathing out. 2, breathing in, breathing out. 3, breathing in, breathing out. 4. Now, I wonder, were you able to focus on those breaths? Or did your mind wander? Did thoughts creep in? I call that mind chatter. When you're doing a breathing meditation, if you're sitting for like 15 minutes, half an hour or longer, thoughts will creep in. They're expected to creep in. And you're supposed to just notice the breath and without any judgment, just let it go and go back to your breath. In my workshop, I try to block mind chatter by providing a series of short guided exercises that are simple and that are interspersed with short guided breathing meditations. Let me demonstrate to you now. I hope you'll join me for one of the exercises. This is called ceiling, floor, wall, and it involves your index finger pointing to the, follow me, ceiling, wall, floor. Again, ceiling, wall, floor. Let's do it backwards. Floor, wall, ceiling. Ceiling, wall, floor. We'll change it up and go a little quicker. Floor, wall, ceiling, wall, ceiling, wall, ceiling, floor, wall, floor, ceiling, floor, wall, floor, ceiling, floor, wall, ceiling, wall, and slow it down, floor, wall, ceiling, ceiling, wall, floor. One more time, floor, wall, ceiling. So that's a demonstration of one of the exercises in the mindfulness exercises for everyone workshop. Did thoughts creep in while you were participating in that? The objective is to stay focused, paying attention in the present moment, and also to ward off the mind chatter. Mindfulness is more than exercises and meditations. The exercises and meditations helps you to live mindfully, whether it is while you're taking a shower, driving your car, or having dinner with family or friends. To learn more, go to eleanorsilverberg.com. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks again to Ballet Jorgen and David and Seroun from the Amici Chamber Ensemble. I invite you to visit highnotesavante.ca to search us on Facebook. You may want to join our new virtual support group, book club, movie club, or new choir, or just sign up to get notice about events as they happen. Remember, although we cannot be together physically, we can still be a part of an artistic community that supports each other through challenging times like this. We hope you enjoyed tonight's performances, and until we see each other again, stay safe and stay well.